The Deep Six. 6 stories from your world in 30 minutes or less. Hosted by Patty Steele and Steve Cochran. The Deep Six is on.
Welcome to the Deep Six. 2 friends, 6 topics, and about a half an hour.
Can we do this in a half an hour? We got a lot to say today.
We usually do, and frankly, the half hour may be a complete lie, but we're hoping you'll be so hooked in you won't mind.
You won't notice, right?
Right. Yes, exactly right.
And who are you?
I'm Steve Cochran, and you can hear me on my podcast, live from my office, or on the radio. You remember the radio?
I do remember the radio.
Every morning from 5:30 to 9 Chicago time, or anywhere you're listening in the world. Adjust yourself accordingly on the Big 890 WLS. Hey, you're on the radio too.
Oh, that's right. I am on the radio. I work in New York City on CBS FM with the legendary, but you know how it is, Scott Shannon.
I loved his work when he was one of the designing women in the 80s. I can't remember which one.
Oh my gosh.
He was so good. All right, well, let's start where we normally do, with entertainment.
The Deep Six. Story number 1.
You know, the night that Will Smith did the slap heard around the world, I'm taking credit for this to some degree. I think I tweeted this. As a matter of fact, I'm sure I tweeted this out. I said, right now, I've got the host for next year. It's Chris Rock and Will Smith hosting the Oscars together.
Yeah, no, I very honestly, that's a great idea. I can't imagine that would ever happen, just because I think that thing was a whole lot more disturbing to Chris Rock, and on some levels, even to Will Smith, who has not been able to recover from it at this point.
And Chris Rock said just the other day, he was offered a chance to host the Oscars and he turned it down.
Well, I don't blame him. I would too.
There's no way you can do it without referencing it in every sketch and every time you come back out on stage.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, you know, and I was thinking about it because I did hear that story, and I thought, you know, I wonder if there's a little part of him that blames the Oscars people because keep in mind, it obviously couldn't have protected him from Will Smith. But the fact that Will Smith went on for the rest of the evening to be so celebrated, get a standing ovation, that they didn't immediately do something to express their dismay over the choice that Will Smith had made.
100%.
I think that Chris Rock is just saying, you know what? Nah, not going to be there.
He doesn't need it.
You weren't there for me. I'm not going to be there for you.
No, he doesn't need it. Item number 2 is about one of your favorite people, Harry Styles.
Yeah. And it's funny because that's kind of like, I guess for a lot of people, they think he's a kid thing, but I believe that he is an artist who is going to withstand the test of time. Unlike pretty much every other artist that comes along, I think the record business and even Hollywood to a certain extent is really invested in one-hit wonders because they make more money off of them. And then they just go and find the next new thing that'll, you know, do whatever they want him to do for not a lot of money. But I think Harry has a real staying power.
He's a star. He's a
real star. I mean, he has been here in New York City. He had 15 shows at the Madison Square Garden. They were spread out a little bit over the course of August and September.
You say 15, 1-5?
15 shows.
That's crazy.
Sold out shows. It's really phenomenal. And I know, you know, there are kids in high school. There are kids my daughter's age. She's almost 25 years old. She works for a record label. She was like a little girl saying, do you think there's any way we can get tickets for Harry Styles?
Sure.
And I said, only if I could go too.
Right. 100%.
Yeah, because I mean, his music is fabulous, his presentation, but there's something about his personality. He is so completely, for such a young guy, so completely peaceful in his own skin.
He's cool. He's
really cool.
He's the definition of cool. Now,
the other big thing is his movie career.
And there's 2 movies I want to ask you about.
Sure.
One is Don't Worry, Darling, which involves his girlfriend. I think she's still a girlfriend, Olivia Wilde. But start with My Policeman, in a clause I'm not familiar with because I've never had this in my contracts.
Well, and you may want to think about getting one. He says that he pre-negotiated a penis clause in his contract for My Policeman.
I'm going to need to know more.
Here's the thing. First of all, so obviously we're talking about My Policeman. He's also in, I want to tell you, this movie, Don't Worry, Darling. That's the one with Olivia Wilde. But in My Policeman, he appears as a policeman in the 1950s who was a closeted guy who was gay. And he said, they asked him if he is naked in it. And he said, well, I'm sort of naked, but I don't bear everything. He said, it feels vulnerable. I've never kissed anyone on camera before, and it felt like giving a part of myself away. He said, I wasn't 1000% naked. He said, but I was pretty much naked in My Policeman. But I'll tell you, there is no peen in the final cut.
All right, first off, we're going to need him not to call it peen anymore.
Well, it gets better. He says there is bum, but I don't think the peen was intended to be involved.
You know what's really sad is peen and bum sound like children's show characters.
Exactly. It's the Peen and Bum show.
Yeah.
Starring Harry Styles. He said that it was pre-negotiated that his peen would remain his own. Maybe that's a British thing. I don't know, but I've
never heard it put that way. Bum, I guess maybe, but if you think about it, when you're shooting that movie and now you're leaving it in the hands of the editors.
Don't use the word shooting, please, when we're talking.
That's a good point too. But the editors, you've got to trust the editors to follow the contract to the letter.
Right.
And you also have to believe that, like the creep working at the photo mat 30 years ago, he probably kept a copy of all the nude pictures.
Right.
So for the rest of his life, is Harry Styles waiting for the peen and bum video to drop?
The cutting room floor peen shot is going to get out there. Anyway, you're interested in seeing him without his peen showing. You can see it in theaters October 21st. And
now Olivia Wilde has seen his peen because she's the girlfriend still, right?
Oh gosh, yeah, she's seen it. Now that film is Don't Worry, Darling. Although I heard one critic say maybe you should worry a little bit, darling, because they weren't as crazy about it. So Olivia Wilde is the director of that film, and in fact, what happened was originally Shia LaBeouf was the guy that was going to star in the Harry Styles role. She got in there, and for whatever reason, she claims she fired Shia LaBeouf. In the meantime, she began this hot and heavy relationship with Harry Styles. She left Jason Sudeikis, with whom she had a couple of kids. She left him behind. She was all over Harry Styles. And so she says that, they don't like to talk about their relationship, but they sort of show it off a little bit. So she said, finally, look, I got rid of Shia LaBeouf from the set because I felt that I needed to protect my cast, especially Florence Pugh. Florence Pugh plays the wife of the character first played by Shia LaBeouf, now played by Harry Styles. And she said, I needed to protect them. Then Florence started bitching about the fact that Olivia was sexing it up with Harry while directing the movie. She said it made it very hard for her to feel safe playing Harry's wife in the flick, because here you have this woman who is so completely gaga over this guy, telling you every move to make when you're in bed with now her boyfriend.
That had to be very weird.
Yeah, she was very upset. Apparently also upset by the fact that Harry made $2.5 million to make this flick, while Florence only made $750,000 to make the flick.
Yeah, that's
so there's
right.
a lot of upset over that. So then, weirdly, Shia LaBeouf decided to speak out. He said, by the way, I was not fired. I quit. And at first, Olivia wanted to deny that, but it turns out he had a video that he took while FaceTiming with her. He didn't release it, but a fan, I guess he put it on social media for a bit, and a fan decided to really release it wide. And in the video, Olivia is sitting in her car and she is begging Shia not to quit the film and telling him all the problems they're having are Florence Pugh's fault. And so
wow. So Olivia Wilde, the wheels really came off. She lost the set.
Yeah. Really so. So Shia then, within the last couple of weeks, sent a letter to Olivia, and he sent a copy to Variety saying, "Firing me never took place, Olivia. And while I fully understand the attractiveness of pushing that story because of the current social landscape and the social currency that brings, it is simply not the truth."
Florence Pugh, I've heard good things. I don't know a lot of her work, but I knew that she was dating Zach Braff,
Hmm.
was JD from Scrubs,
Right.
into this year. And I think they've since broken up. And of course, she left him for the janitor. He will not be named.
Yeah.
But maybe Sudeikis is not at fault for the relationship coming apart. Maybe Olivia's crazy.
She's a little intense, that's for sure. By the way, should you be interested in seeing that movie, don't worry, darling. It is right now at the Venice Film Festival, and then it's going to be in theaters for the rest of us peons on September 23rd.
Continuing with entertainment, our third item in the entertainment category, our first category, comes from Time Magazine. It's 32 shows on TV you're going to want to watch this fall.
Are they new shows?
Some of them are
some of them
important.
continuations.
Yeah, well, some of them are important notes to make, because you and I were talking before we started recording today. You don't know when a series is ending. You don't know when a series is starting.
See, it used to be, as much as it killed me, like I used to love watching This Is Us, but I get up at 3:00 in the morning for work. I can't stay up till 9:00 every Thursday night to watch a show. So
especially since it was on Tuesday nights, that would have made it even harder.
Was it Tuesday?
Right.
Well, I don't know, because I always had to tape it and watch it like on the weekend.
I get it.
And so that's the way it was. But at least you knew when it was supposed to be on. These new, a lot of these newer shows, especially the streaming ones, like you will just binge them, and then it'll go away for 2 or sometimes 3 years.
Yep.
And then it comes back and you binge it again, and then you got to wait. And they're coming in at all different times of the year, and you lose track of them. I mean, there are shows I absolutely loved. I loved the show. We talked about this one, but like, watching with my husband, he completely forgot what it was about because it was gone for a couple of years.
I blame Larry David a little bit, because
yes,
Larry David was one of the first guys to go, there is no season. I'll come back when I feel like it.
Right.
The Sopranos had a little bit of that going on near the end.
Game of Thrones.
But nonetheless, there's got to be a business there. There's got to be a business and a market there for someone who could be the developer of the app that you have on your phone that says, here's what you might want to watch today.
Oh,
like if you're old enough to know TV Guide, it'd be like a TV guide for 2022.
So like, what would you do? You would maybe put in what it is that the show, that as you're watching it, say, I really love this show, let me know when it comes back. And then you don't have to think about it. And then an alert comes up on your phone that's saying, hey, there you go. That's a great idea. I'm going to steal it, and I'm going to make
Well, please do, because my whole thing is I like to bring up good ideas and not do anything with them.
Oh man, that's like most of us, isn't it?
So, all right, a couple other things now from this list. Again, it's in Time Magazine if you want to track it down. Donald Glover in Atlanta. They're going into their final season this fall on FX, and it debuts on September 15th. The Good Wife, which has gone 6 seasons, amazing. This is the online version of the show that it started with, or I should say The Good Fight. The Good Wife was the original show. And The Good Fight season 6 is going to end soon. Christine Baranski is tremendous, is the star of the show.
Juliana Margulies is not in it.
Right.
No. Okay.
Yeah. And it starts on September 8th at 6th and final season. But there's lots of new shows too. And let me just give you a few of these that'll be on the app that I'm not developing currently that I mentioned a moment ago. One of them is called The Rings of Power. It's a fantasy series based on J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
That's as far as I got into this because I don't care. Okay. It's September 2nd on Prime Video.
Okay.
Wedding season. Kate and Stefan fall in love at a wedding, even though Katie already had a fiance. Now Katie's getting married until her new husband and whole family are murdered.
Oh, that's not good.
Who did it?
Last
That's a little
like Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah, except without the laughs, apparently. That'll be September 8th on Hulu, speaking of Only Murders.
What's not to laugh about when it comes to murder?
Yeah, I find it funny. Well, I guess it depends on the murder.
Yeah,
Really.
probably.
When you think about it, remember American Gigolo?
Sure, of course, Richard Gere.
John Bernthal, great actor,
Mhm.
stars as Julian Kay, the same one from the 1980 film about a sex worker who is framed for murder. You can't even be a gigolo anymore without having trouble.
Yeah, like why do people target you just because you like to have fun for pay?
The Jennifer Hudson Show. Will you watch this? A daytime talk show hosted by the great Jennifer Hudson?
You know what? She's a bit of a diva, and I kind of am attracted to that. So I would give that a try. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I love her. She's a Chicago girl.
She's an
Um,
incredible talent.
She really is. And the family, went through that nightmare of
Oh my God.
having the sister and the mother and child murdered.
Okay, now that you bring that up, that makes me even more interested because there's a whole story. There's a really deep backstory there that's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, the fact that she survived and was able to even put one foot in front of the other is amazing to me.
Sure.
There's a show called The Midnight Club, which is coming October 10th to Netflix, based on a series by Christopher Pike. 8 members of the Midnight Club meet every night at midnight in a mysterious manner to tell scary stories and to hunt for the supernatural.
Oh, I love that. Oh, it's giving me chills.
I thought it might. A series also on Netflix, October 21st, called From Scratch. Zoe Saldana.
Yeah, sure.
She leads a romantic drama as Amy Wheeler, who meets the Sicilian chef of her dreams. Do you have a Sicilian chef of your dreams?
I have many of them. I don't know that they actually exist, but in my mind they do.
They moved back to LA and he's got to fit in, and maybe some hilarity ensues.
I like that. That's me. That's an escape type show. I like
it sounds like
shows. I don't like shows. I'm kind of tired of shows that like upset me, and that's pretty much all of TV now. So I'm watching that one.
Yeah, let me just give you one more. Tulsa King, November 13th on Paramount Plus.
I've heard about this.
Sylvester Stallone comes back. He's Dwight the General Manfredi, a New York mafia boss freed from prison after a quarter century and consigned to Tulsa, Oklahoma.
And here's the thing. Dwight is his character's name. It's also the name he gave his new Rottweiler, which precipitated the divorce he's going through with his wife because she didn't want another dog in the house.
I don't understand that. Obviously there's more problems than just you didn't.
Oh, hello. Isn't
the
that
dog
the
was
truth?
coming along.
It's like you just had enough and somebody looks at you the wrong way and after 25 years, you say, that's it. I'm done with you.
Right.
It's not the dog. The poor dog. Don't blame the friggin' dog. This is.
I got to give you one more. It's Wednesdays this fall on Netflix. And it's Wednesday Addams and a reboot of the Addams Family.
Yeah, I've been reading about this a little bit. Tell me more.
This is a Tim Burton show.
Yes, I love
and it's
Tim
very
Burton.
dark. Catherine Zeta-Jones plays the mother, whose name I'm forgetting. I don't know if there's a lurch involved.
Is this Morticia?
Yeah, Morticia. Wasn't
or is she on the Munsters?
I don't remember. But at any rate, it looks too dark for me. I may be the only one on the planet. I mean, Tim Burton's incredibly creative. I just don't care.
You don't care about his stuff?
Nah, it's just too weird for me.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yellowstone season 5 coming back November 13th on Paramount. And one more, The Crown season 5. I didn't even know they were doing a season 5.
I did hear that they were. I didn't know it was coming back that soon. I want to step back to Yellowstone. There's nothing yet about the new spin-off. What's it called? 1927 or 1937 or something?
I think it's 18.
No, it was supposed to be. No, it's not. Originally, it was going to be 1937. And then they decided, no, we want to go back a little so we can talk about the end of the Jazz Age and into
okay. I don't know the show.
And then into the the whole Depression era and all of that. So they decided to bump it back 10 years.
Well, I love The Crown, and The Crown season 5 coming in November on Netflix as well. So there you go. That's a little bit of entertainment for you. But we're not done with TV yet as we move to
The Deep Six, number 2.
Let's talk TV for a second, because there's a major thing going on in network television.
Mhm.
One, network television sucks. Network television
really?
has turned into game shows.
See, I wouldn't know that because I never watch it.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's news, sports, game shows, and reality TV. That's it.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
But NBC is considering, and apparently in talks to do this, giving back the last hour of prime time to the network or to the local affiliate. So
What
In
are they going to
Chicago,
do with it?
Chicago, it's a 9 o'clock hour. In New York and LA, it's a 10 o'clock hour. And they would do whatever they want with it, probably run reruns of things and keep more of the money locally. But that's a big deal. They give up an hour of prime time.
So reruns, wow, that's a really big deal. Reruns, or they would have to create something
Yeah.
that the networks can't create, but they'd have to do it on a local budget. Maybe we should ask them if we can have an hour of their time.
The Deep Six.
The Deep Six
That's all I'm saying.
coming to a TV station near you.
And one more in TV. You and I have talked about this, and this developed in the Trump presidency. People, and you see this now in the network news ratings and the cable channel news ratings, they're down, and they're down hard. And you have a study that says people just don't want to watch it.
Well, the problem is some of them do, but what they're facing is what they call news addiction. And they say that it's bad for your mental and physical well-being. This was a team at NYU surveyed a whole ton of people to find a correlation between news watching and feeling like crap. They found folks who engaged in heavy news consumption were more likely to feel really shitty about, mentally and physically. And they said if someone's feeling depressed and anxious, having trouble pulling away from the news for long, sort of like away from your phone, or feeling less engaged in their lives, they need to limit how much news they're consuming. And I really understand that, because I truly do not watch television news anymore because it just is too upsetting. What I find, because I work in the business, so I got to keep up on things, is I find that I can hit, headlines and things on my phone or on, online. I can save those stories. And then as I'm getting ready to go on the radio I do a couple of hours of show prep, I will sit in there and I'll catch up on it. And there's things that truthfully people talk about in everyday life you'll hear about, but I can't sit there and just watch endless hours of upsetting news,
No.
because man, all they like to tell you is about, why we all hate each other, about murders, about deaths, about it's horrifying.
Speaking of fatigue, let's move on to topic number 3, our science topic, because we always want you to learn from the show. What is compassion fatigue?
Well, that's a new thing. Well, maybe it's not a new thing, but it's a new thing. It's a new name for a thing. And they say that it's on the rise. Healthcare workers are in the highest category. According to this new study, 52% of compassion fatigue cases are healthcare workers. It's a psychological term used to describe emotional or physical exhaustion, leading to a limited ability to empathize or feel compassion for other people. So it's basically like, I call you or you call me every day and you tell me everything that's going on. How upsetting. This is kind of what I do to you. I tell you
it's
everything.
not true.
Yeah, well,
true.
sort of. It's I just unload on you like all of the things that are upsetting, and you feel this need to help me get myself back in order.
But there's a difference between listening to a friend and watching how horrible the news paints the world to be.
Not really. They're saying that even being a friend's go-to for advice can cause compassion fatigue. And at some point, you're going to look through the Zoom lens at me and go, yeah, whatever. Okay.
Well, just so you know, I'm not sick of you yet. So we got that going.
Well, I'm working on it, I think.
But I get it. I do. And, an extended science edition here for our third topic involves what you do when the news knocks you out and you're tired and you're sleeping.
So this is really cool. Do you ever I don't know how many people you sleep with, but however many people you sleep with.
I try to limit it to my wife.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. You're no fun. So do you look over at her and she's asleep, but you see under her absolutely lovely smooth eyelids, you see her eyeballs flutting around and doing all of this stuff, moving all over the place.
Yeah, you know what that's called? Rapid eye movement.
Right. That's REM sleep.
Right.
And so, but they never really knew exactly what was going on for that. So what they did is they started to study the rapid eye movement among mice. And they said that what they discovered was that what the mice, and again, I don't know if the mice wake up and tell the scientists what they were dreaming about, but apparently that's the case because what they
Every
discovered,
single dream is cheese. Every one of them.
and they're looking for all the holes in the cheese.
Right.
They said that our eye, the same neurons in their brains are in ours. And they said that what basically is happening when your eye is moving around, you're dreaming. And that's your eye following whatever it is you're seeing. So, say you're dreaming about, running through a field of flowers, and your eyes are kind of floating back and forth. Oh, look at the poppies and whatever. Or maybe you're dreaming about being chased by some murderer, and you're like, and your eyes are going all over the place.
Sure.
That's what is happening. What you are seeing in your brain, your eyes are responding to.
So like you close your eyelids and that's the movie screen.
That's it.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, right?
That's really cool.
Now, the thing about that same study is, and I know you saw this research as well, some of the mice had sleep disorders and wore tiny CPAPs. And so, they didn't have the same REM sleep results from the mice who had sleep apnea. I'm just telling you.
The Deep Six, number 4.
Let's say I'm hungry while I'm climbing Mount Fuji. What do I do?
Let's just say you are. Now, I'm not going to guarantee this works on every mountain, but apparently, if you are traveling up the Mount Fuji, hiking basically, and you get hungry, you can call this thing called Gojek, Gojek. It's an Indonesian delivery service, and you can order snacks, because who doesn't love a snack when they're hiking? And they say that recently, a delivery man hiked up a volcano for 6 hours, which is Mount Fuji. It's a volcano. Hiked up this volcano for 6 hours to deliver food to hungry climbers. And about 4 days later, another Mount Fuji climber ordered Domino's, and the guy climbed up with Domino's. Here's the thing: 6 hours with Domino's. A, your pizza's going to get really friggin' cold. And B, how much do you have to tip this guy? It's
all
like
the
a
money you have in
pizza.
the world.
Right. Everything.
What about the interview, though, for the delivery guy? Okay, occasionally you're going to have to hike 6 miles up Mount Fuji.
No,
What?
6 hours. You know how
it's
long? 6 hours. That's a long time. It might be less than 6 miles now that I think about it.
I just Googled while we're talking about this. It takes the average climber between 5 and 7 hours to climb Mount Fuji, which means 6 hours. They were almost at the top.
Yeah, they were climbing all the way up. Well, if you think about it, when do you want your celebratory pizza? You want it
At
when
the
you
top.
get up there. Yeah, you're not going to stop on the way. You're going to get heartburn, and you're not going to finish the climb.
Can I ask you another question?
Sure.
Let's say that the Mount Fuji version of DoorDash, or maybe they should call it Door Eventually, they bring you the pizza. It is going to be cold. How do you heat it up?
Maybe in the sun. Maybe you just are one of those people like my kids that like cold pizza.
I don't know.
They don't have any problem with it. So
yeah, DoorDash, no. Mount Fuji, what's it called? Get Me? What's the delivery stuff?
Gojek.
Gojek.
Gojek. One word. Gojek.
Doesn't it seem like maybe halfway up somebody could have started a restaurant or something?
Yeah, right. A snack bar. I totally agree.
Yeah.
The Deep Six, number 5.
This dating item starts with a dude from Google who is just as big a nerd as you would think he would be, but how to work out for him.
Here's the thing. First of all, I should preface this by saying I work in a Google building. My radio station has 2 floors. Every other floor in the building is a Google floor. They have buildings all around me. So I live and work with Google people. So I totally understand this. This guy would, like meet up on dating websites with women, and they would ghost him. Like he'd have one date and they would disappear. So this guy, he's a program manager for Google, said he decided to start giving his dates a 4-page questionnaire after the date was over. Now, I have to ask, if the date ends on a romantic nature, do you then present the paperwork? Where in that evening does that come? Maybe
I don't know. I don't know
Well,
because
so he would give them a 4-page questionnaire so he could collect data. And he said after one day disliked the venue he had chosen to take her to. He started he began selecting more creative date ideas. He decided, like, I'm not going to just take her to Domino's or whatever. I'm going to find something really interesting that is going to, pique her interest. And so he would get them to fill this stuff out and he would say, now I sort of understand what's interesting to the majority of women I'm interested in. And what can I do to make the date more fun and make them want to go out with me again? And he said that he's now regularly dating a woman who did fill out the survey after the first date and still actually wanted to see him again, surprisingly. Because usually survey, that kind of takes a little of the romance out of
yeah,
it.
it does. But he found a winning formula here.
Yep. And it worked. So there
All
you
right.
go.
So in relation to that, you know who Patti Smith
Sure.
is?
John
Patti Smith.
McEnroe's wife. Yeah.
Yeah, and was in a band called Scandal.
Right.
Do you know John Bon Jovi was her guitarist for a while?
Really? I did
Yeah,
not
before
know
Bon Jovi hit.
that. Wow.
So Scandal and Warrior. Scandal breaks up. She ends up having a huge hit with Don Henley called Sometimes Love Just Ain't Enough.
Mhm.
But after that, she marries McEnroe, and I think she hadn't done much, right? Musically.
I don't know. I mean, I would think he would be a full-time job.
Yeah, right. Well, guess what? She says the number one reason is they're still happy, both in their 60s after 23 years of marriage. Her quote, you got to keep the sex going.
Really?
Yeah.
How does she do that? Because remember last week we had a story about how women lose interest in their husbands after the age of 40.
I don't know. I mean, she said, listen, I still get butterflies when I see him. And you have to be the special person to each other, first and foremost. And you know how that works. You're in love. That's the person you think about. That's the person you want to tell something. It sounds like they really have it going. And as long as she never says the ball was out, I mean, I'm sure they would be fine.
It's funny because, the US Open has been going on here in New York and John McEnroe does the commentary for ESPN and he's on with Chris Everett. And they were talking the other night about Serena Williams. And he said, the way Serena has always, really played ferociously, she like has this need to get furiously mad about something because then she's got that, she can just
That's
really
what
go
drives
after
her.
it. And he said, but truthfully, when it comes to anger, I really don't know enough about that.
Oh, that's funny. That's
Which
funny.
is totally what he was built on,
Yeah. One more quote, by the way, from People Magazine from Patti Smith.
Mhm.
Said that she and McEnroe spend most of their time quarantining in Malibu at a house they have there. And she said, with all the kids out of the house now, it's nice that John can run around naked.
Well, wow.
So that sounds like they really are crazy about each other.
Yeah, I would say so.
Oh, and you mentioned Serena. This doesn't have anything to do with this particular topic,
Uh-huh.
but Serena Williams stepping away from tennis, presumably forever.
Yeah.
Is there a more impressive athlete ever? And I'm including Michael Jordan.
She's phenomenal. And I love that, she's 40 years old and she is looking now at her life and saying, I've done everything I can do in this arena. And now she wants to have more children. She wants to get more involved in some of the charity stuff that she does and other business opportunities. So I love anybody who can see a path to the future.
Yeah.
Doesn't just look back and try to hang on to everything in their past and miss all the opportunity they have looking forward. And that's a beautiful thing. And she certainly is the epitome of that.
Yeah. And Serena Williams has dominated the game forever. And we think
Yeah.
about the family that she came from and the trouble that Richard Williams was,
Mhm.
even though you could certainly make the argument without Richard Williams, she and her sister never get there.
She's an inspiration. She really is.
But yeah, it's a crazy story. It's very cool.
The Deep Six, number 6.
Are you hungry?
I'm always hungry. Tell me what you have.
Well, let's talk about some things that you can do dining wise that don't involve Mount Fuji.
Do they involve pizza though?
Yeah, I mean, you certainly
Okay.
could. but these are food items that you probably wouldn't think of first. And then I want to ask you a question. You can start thinking of it right now. What is the absolute most politically separating pizza topping that you would have? In other words, there's no middle ground. People either hate it or love it, but hold your thought on that.
Okay.
And let me tell you a couple of these. Pepsi once made a hyper caffeinated drink called Pepsi AM for people to drink in the morning, which, I don't drink coffee.
Right.
So having a Diet Coke in the morning always works for me.
Oh, God.
So,
I'm
you know what I don't need?
What?
Pepsi AM, because I can just have a Diet Pepsi or a Diet Coke.
It's the same thing.
You don't need to have something labeled AM to drink it.
That's kind of funny. I hear you. Yeah. That's kind of
Jell-O
redundant.
once tested out coffee flavored Jell-O.
See, now that is attractive to me. I'm not a big sweets person, but I love coffee. So it had that little bitter edge. I would like that. A coffee Jell-O, bring it on. I'll take that.
Okay, well, the greatest thing about eating Jell-O when you're a kid is what? You swish it around in your mouth and it turns into liquid.
Right.
So when you swish coffee Jell-O around, is that a good thing?
Yeah, you're drinking coffee then.
Okay, all right.
I'll take
Oscar Mayer has come up with, and this is a modern item, has come up with hot dog pops. They are frozen popsicles that taste like hot dogs.
Ew.
Yep.
That's like really creepy.
I'm with you. No, I'm with you. Do you know the original story of French fries? Because you love French fries.
I absolutely freak out over French fries. Tell me.
French fries come from Belgium.
Belgium.
Now, why weren't they called Belgium
fries? It's too much of a mouthful. French fries.
A river froze over in the 17th century. They fried potatoes instead of fish. The French claim fried potatoes were served by pushcart vendors the following century. Belgium has never gotten credit for French fries.
Well, they should do something about it in the world court.
Disney once started Mickey's Chicken Fast Food.
Mickey's Chicken Fast Food.
Musketeer meals were offered.
Mickey.
But the two trial locations were soon closed to competitions from food courts. Turns out you don't have to move Disney food off the Disney property. You can eat it there and overpay for it there.
Right. So were they like French fried mice or what were they?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, the drive-throughs around the corner.
Yuck.
So there's several others here, but let me just give you one more. Back in the 50s, long before our time, cigarettes were purported to be healthy.
Oh, you probably don't know this about me. I'm a huge collector of old magazines starting from the 1800s. And you can page through and you can see ads in there in the 40s and 50s of doctors saying, 6 out of 10 doctors agree that, I don't know the name of what Marlboros or whatever are the best, healthiest choice you can make when it comes to smoking.
Yeah. And this is another one that would be a little surprising. The inventors of cookie dough bites, the candy cookie dough bites.
Sure.
They once were in the health food business and went broke 3 different times before they went, let's start making crap and make some real cash.
Well, there you go. Sadly, that's kind of the way it is.
Oh, and founders of the Outback Steakhouse never visited Australia. Just some fun food facts for our last item. All right, here's the question.
Okay.
The item on pizza topping. And it's not an uncommon topping, but pizza topping, you either love it or you hate it. Nobody's in the middle.
Anchovies.
Yeah, I don't know that anyone loves anchovies, do they?
I do. I love anchovies.
You do?
Yes. And I am one of the few people I know that loves anchovies. I also like herring in wine sauce, those little jars that our grandmothers liked. Maybe
on your
because my
pizza?
grandmother used to. No, not on my pizza. Anchovies I'm fine with on pizza.
Anchovies finished well down the list. The topping I'm talking about, pineapple. Pineapple on your pizza. It's the one topping that will either cause a fist fight or get you a big hug.
You know what? I totally get that because as someone who is subjected, oh no, wait, I love it. Get to stay like together with big groups of family at someone's beach house.
Yeah.
What happens is some people really want the Hawaiian pizza and other people go, and they don't want it. So you have to get it separately. And they say, please don't put the box next to the one with pepperoni on it.
Right. I mean, I like pineapple.
Yeah. I love pineapple, but
yeah, I love pizza. I just don't want them together.
no, not even close.
So look,
Just like that. Remember that we talked about this, that that Walmart had a limited edition ice cream that they put out from Van Leeuwen's. It was a mac and cheese ice cream this summer.
Right.
Mac and cheese, I get it. I'm not a fan, but a lot of people love it. Ice cream, love it. Together, no thanks.
Nope, you got to stop it. Look, it's the Deep Six. We hope you like it. We hope you'll tell your friends. We do a new one every week. And again, it's 2 friends, 6 topics, 30 minutes or so, maybe closer to 60 today.
Oh, God, really? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
but we had fun doing it. We hope you like it. And we hope you'll join us next time or hear us on the radio. What station is that?
I'm on CBS FM. And by the way, it's really important that we enjoy it as much as it is that you enjoy it.
Yeah, because if we didn't, we
So
wouldn't.
where do you work?
Yeah, and I'm on WLS, the Big 890 in Chicago, every morning from 5:30 to 9, and also another podcast wherever you get your podcast called Live from My Office. Spread it like COVID and tell your friends.
Oh, you mean the podcast?
Yes.
I didn't know it.
Spread it like COVID. Be a super spreader of the Deep Six, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. The Deep Six. Subscribe, rate, follow, or review at pattysteele.com or cochranshow.com.